We have our first management post-market open with us. Surabhi.
Absolutely, and it's management from a very hot sector that's in the news, and I'm talking about IT services. Well, this morning we have the management of Happiest Minds joining in. Venkatraman Narayanan, Managing Director at Happiest Minds Technologies, is with us. Venkat, thank you so much for taking out the time. As you can imagine, we have many questions. I just want to lay out sort of a broad framework for our viewers to outline what we really want to discuss. Obviously, we'll talk about this whole US H-1B visa issue, the impact, not much on this company. They don't send too many workers on these visas to the US as of now, but we'll find out what it really means. And then, of course, we'll discuss demand trends in the second quarter and the rest of the year. And, of course, the outlook on Gen AI. Happiest Minds has a dedicated unit. We'll find out what's happening. So, Venkat, thanks so much for joining in once again. Let's start with the first one, H-1B. Now, our colleague Rima was explaining to us that you folks, a large part of your model is built offshore. You don't send too many people to the US. I think only 3-4 people, on these H-1B visas. So while this is not big for you right now, I'm sure you would have been having a lot of discussions around this because you have your own aspirations of touching $1 billion in revenue over the next couple of years. So is this going to be a big dampener eventually for you and overall for the sector?
So first, to clarify, I think you got the numbers right. We don't send too many people on H1. We've got about 4 people last year and 3 people up until today for this current financial year. So as that shows, we are not very dependent on H1s going from here to US. For our requirements, we do local hiring. And, we had acquired a couple of companies. They have also brought in the talent that we have been looking to, add on site as required. As far as you said about our aspirations, there is going to be both an organic growth, which means we'll continue to do a lot more in the same model or a similar model that we are doing of substantial offshore business. But we'll also be growing in geographies of other than US, because H-1B is kind of a small dampener for the industry as far as US is concerned. But, you have to spread yourself across the geographies. The last couple of acquisitions that we did has taken us to countries like Africa, Europe, and even Asia Pacific. So that's one thing which will help us broad base our revenues. Sure. On top of that, we'll also grow through acquisitions, on-site companies, companies based out of US. Those will all be the ways we'll tackle the growth objectives while also, being able to surmount this temporary H-1B visa hike for the industry.
Got it. So, Venkatraman, you have your plan in place, but if I could ask a broader question, I'm sure these conversations would have already happened over the last 4-5 days since this news broke. Just to understand, at this juncture, the cost of getting that work done on-site with a local hire versus sending someone on an H-1B visa with this higher 100,000 fee, what is the offset? And do you think companies will still take the hit and still keep sending Indian personnel over there?
See, you'll have to look at the expertise and the economics put together. Until now, expertise was, paramount. Economics was always there because, you were moving people from India to US. But as you go forward, you'll have to look at both of them. And, typically in a large project with, let's say, 100 people offshore, you may need 1 or 2 people on site. So there could be an element of investment that, both sides, the customer and we'll have to make sure that on-site presence, if required, we'll be able to, send that those kind of people who can then be the connect between us and the customers, offshore connect or the on-site connect that we call, could be that person. So obviously, economics and expertise will go hand in hand. And in those cases where we have to make those investments, we'll make those investments, because I think it's an investment in the customer, in a technology offering, in our offerings rather, and in a particular technology. We look at it holistically. So it's not like I don't want to use the word body shopping, but we don't get into that kind of a business on an H-1B. It's always been expertise based for us.
Okay, so good to speak with you, and as always, Prashant here, Mr. Narayan. So one is H1B, the other issue, the other point is Gen AI. And I think you would have expected that question. So, use cases are rising. I spoke with Jamie Dimon, a CEO of JP Morgan. He said, well, within JP Morgan, there are now some 500 use cases. Last night, Mr. Vinod Khosla was interviewed by a Indian founder who said that because of Gen AI, and maybe a little dramatic on his part, he said that most companies can be run with 50% of people. They just don't know how to do it. For a company like you, and you've said that you are also advancing use cases and how this will really fit in. What are the billable use cases right now? How many are there? At what rate is this growing? Just give us a sense.
Yeah, like we said, we started with almost close to 200 plus use cases, and that's growing by the day. And when we are in touch with customers, because when we started the unit, it had to be kind of a show and tell. You had to have use cases to go talk, make the customers see the importance of AI and how it could make things easy for them. But moving from there, right now, with the unit, or the GBS unit that we talked about has broken even last quarter, which was something that I did touch upon. And that's been only because there has been tangible evidence of what we are doing for our customers through use of Gen AI services. But like you said, there is a lot of research happening on how can you use this to automate. So there is the low-hanging fruit, which is use it for customer support, call center activity, automation of certain basic research activities, repeatable functions. What earlier used to be done through automation can be done through Gen AI. So there is a lot of these things which are the low-hanging fruit, which is getting addressed very quickly. On the supply side, when I say all of this is on the demand side, but on the supply side, we are also seeing, coding using Gen AI. So something that we are tracking very closely is how many of our people are now Gen AI trained, how many of them are using the various tools that are available in the market today to make their coding that much more efficient. We are looking at that coding efficiency improving substantially, and to a certain extent, what earlier used to require 10 people to do in terms of coding, we would now require, let's say, 8 or 9 or 7 kind of people to do the same kind of work. So there is a lot of generative AI being used at the coding end. Today, you must have read there is a company which is in the area of vibe coding, which has got quite a bit of decent funding. That's about how you're able to automate our own internal tasks, which we use to deliver services to a market. So to our customers. So there is the demand side and the supply side. On the supply side, we are looking inwards, working very closely with customers. There is a task force which is going into each of the projects and seeing what part of the work that we do for them.
But Mr. Narayanan, this would be all services, you're not building products for this.
No.
I mean, for example, I'll give you there's a company called Cursor. I heard about it recently, but I'm sure you're aware of it. About 18, 20 months old, $10 billion valuation. And it just enables people to code using ChatGPT as the underlying platform. It basically sits between ChatGPT and the coder. Apparently, I was told 80% of software engineers who write code in India use it.
That's right.
So, but I'm saying, but you will be looking at services, not building products like that.
We will be using companies like Cursor.ai or, Vibe kind of companies which are using those platforms to use and automate our coding experience for our customers, Prashant. That's the way we'll go forward. On top of that, yes, these companies will also become part of our high-tech customer landscape, because they will also want, all of it cannot be automated. It's not that you just tell the machine, build me a product called Cursor AI. They are also going to be our customers tomorrow. And they'll also be we'll use our own technologies to help them build this platform. Kind of a thing. So yeah, there is demand in the form of existing enterprises adopting or adapting to AI. There are new emerging companies completely in the field of AI, all of whom we'll be supporting.
Okay, got that. That's of course medium-term perspective and helpful. But Venkatraman, just to come back to the near term, I mean, earlier in this year, you have been guiding for double-digit growth, right? Yeah, double-digit constant currency growth. What are US clients saying right now, particularly in that geography, given the up and down and the uncertainties? I mean, how are spends shaping up, decision-making? How is all that shaping up? And are you on track with that guidance of double-digit constant currency revenue growth and margins, I think, in the band of 20 to 22%?
We are holding on to both those numbers as now. I don't want to get into specifics because we are just going to get into the silent period for Q2. As far as margins are concerned, again, I'd cautioned that there will be slight adjustments for the wage hike that we'll be going through. We have gone through in the current quarter. But other than that, we are holding to those numbers. As far as US as a geography, I would have loved for my colleague and CEO, Joseph, to give you a first-hand view because he's there, traveling extensively, speaking to customers. Things are slowly opening up, and the entire industry is looking for a better second half. That's how the story right now is, because there is going to be a little bit more of fixity on the way things are moving in the US economy. Obviously, this H-1B thing is a little bit of it just does set some sort of a disturbance, but we should be able to quickly overcome that and get on to talking about business. But that said, we are looking at a very healthy pipeline. It's been building up. We had put in place our new business head and the whole organizational restructure that we did. We are looking at those starting to pay dividends, and we are seeing a good pipeline build for second half and onwards.
Yeah, but what you said is really important to wrap this up. This whole H-1B issue, is it going to lead to delays in deal closures? Because now when a US client is looking to sign on an Indian IT services company, I mean, onshore, offsite, that whole mix, visa costs, like you said, I mean, whether the client will chip in, etc., all those negotiations come in the picture as well. So does it mean, as opposed to the expectations of a strong second half, does it actually mean potential delays in closures?
I don't think so, because we are talking about all of these new changes happening from the next filing season, which starts next March. So right now, the discussions will be based on people that we have with us today. Most of the companies do certain amount of advanced filing, and they have a few set of people already available who can be, put into deployed immediately or put into the project immediately. Local hiring is something that we have been focusing on. That's something that we'll dip into quickly. So I think in terms of ramping up, the challenges will be almost similar, whether it is on-site or offshore. That's what it'll be.
Okay. All right. Great to have you on, and it's good perspective for us, for your shareholders, and of course the viewers as well. Thank you very much for taking out the time today. Good luck for the rest of the year. Well, that's a view from Happiest Minds. We'll take a quick break on